Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
World of Outlaws Dirt Racing is available now. Download your copy today.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV. It's time for the next round of the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 410 Thunder Series, the fifth round of 6 here at Limaland Motorsports Park in virtual Ohio. Big thanks to Hobbs Trenching and Boring and our other series partners for your support of this series, which has been absolutely fantastic. Plenty of drama, plenty of great racing, and we look to continue it at this tiny little bullring of a dirt oval. Quarter mile in length is Limaland Motorsports Park. That's 400 meters for those of you in metric land. And, well, we've got a full field of 410 cubic inch V8 powered sprint cars ready to entertain us. To bring it to you all live here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch is myself, Reese Gardner, with Jay Kennedy alongside me in the commentary box. Jay's also handling production behind the scenes and bringing you these live pictures. Well, Jay, last time we raced at Limaland, I can't remember exactly when, but the one thing I do remember about it was I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back how long ago it was as well, but yeah, this is a fun track, very, very tight, and as you said, bullring's probably by far the best description of this place. So it's going to be a very, very entertaining night. Cannot wait to see how it plays out. And the championship's going to be very, very shaken up after tonight too, you would feel, because lots of drivers unable to attend that are featuring within that top 10. So it should be well and truly shaken up by the end of the night.
Yeah, we'll all come down to that final round at Lanier in a week's time, but this is how it looks after the previous round of the championship. Riley Bilson on top, but not by much. He is only 13 points ahead of Richie McLeod at the top of the standings, and then it is a further, what's that, 6 points to Brady Baldwin as well. Well, I'm looking further and further down the top 10. You see just how close the gaps are. You're right, Jay. It's going to be massively shuffled. And Tim Ryan, in 9th place in the standings, obviously not able to attend the rest of the rounds of the season. So he's going to drop out of the top 10 by the end of the night.
Yeah, he's going to drop out for sure. But Brenton Hobson also not here this week. I noticed that he's actually technically equal 6th, just to make things all right and fair in the world. So that's going to be a really, really interesting look at the championship complexion after tonight's racing. We're not far off getting cars out on track as well, which is going to be really cool to see. Looking forward to seeing how they do tackle this track. It's not an easy place to handle. full ring nature of it, as you said before, I mean the racing's very, very hectic.
Yeah, indeed. And as we take a very close look at this track on the B-roll, you notice one of the defining features of this circuit. It's quite heavily banked up towards the top of the circuit, up towards the concrete wall, but very flat down low. And you would think that means the outside line is where things are going to happen, especially in these sprint cars with the massive amounts of downforce they generate from those massive wings.
Yeah, I think making sure you've got that set up right is going to getting things correct in proceedings tonight. One thing to note as well is those tyres that stick out and protrude from the middle of the dirt to donate the inside of the track. Yourself a little bit too aggressive on the inside, you find yourself clipping them and finding yourself in all sorts of dramas, so you've got to be careful of those as well.
Yeah, we saw quite a few drivers come under the effects of inside tyres back at the dirt track at Charlotte in a previous round. The tyres are smaller here at Limaland, but they can still give you a good whack, and with the sprint cars running the new damage model that iRacing implemented some time ago, that means that we'd likely see a bit of suspension damage depending on how you hit those inside tyres. Well, we're currently going through the driver's briefing at the moment, and we have 30 drivers in the session at the moment, 29 if you take out Liam James in race control. So looks to me like we are headed for a 4-heat format for this round. Of course, every heat is going to go for 8 laps. And then, after all the heats are completed, we have a 10-lap C main, and the top 4 from the C main will transfer through to the B main, while the top 4 from every heat transfers through to the feature. As things stand, the B main of 12 laps basically means that there's only one driver from the B main who's going to transfer through to the feature, at least from what I can see. Usually it is the top 8, but the A main is going to be running for 30 laps, which is a pretty typical race length for what we've seen this season. Here at Limaland, it is going to go flying by just because this track is so short.
It's going to go very, very quick, but it's going to be very action-packed, remembering that the caution laps don't count, so that drivers can get 30 full laps of racing in. We may see most of those laps come through, as you said, really, really fast when we actually get the racing action, but we could see a lot of cautions as well, just based on the nature of this track. So fingers crossed we don't see too many. But yeah, it's a potential that we may see quite a few. 50-50 on how that's going to play out.
Yeah, 50-50 for sure. Well, not too long now until we get into the quick time session, and it's the typical format once again. 4 minutes, and drivers will each have 2 laps to set their qualifying times and determine how they will grid in the heats. And the laps are going to be over very shortly for the drivers. There's not much margin for error around this place, and I'd be interested to see what kinds of lines drivers will run in the qualifying session with a more or less clean track. Of course, after the briefing is done, they are going to let the drivers out on there for only a single lap or so of practice, just to wear the track in a little bit, but it's still going to be very tacky as they make their way into qualifying.
100%. It's going to be really tough this first couple of heats as well, because the track won't be worn at all. There will be lots of grip, but there'll be lots of grip for everyone, so it will make overtaking quite difficult as well. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic as the drivers now hit the circuit for the first time. See some lap times coming up on the board very, very soon.
Yes, indeed. Drivers coming out now, and Braden Morosky being one of them. Driver that unfortunately has suffered a few issues this season that haven't quite befitted his talent. Will be interesting to see what one of our two number 27 cars is able to do this this round. Of course, Jaden Russell for Synergy Sim Racing is the other driver running the number 27 in this league. And we can already see from this short practice session that drivers are mostly running middle of the road to start with, but I would expect that the fast line is going to move way up the circuit as it keeps getting worn in.
100%. We'll see that change and progress throughout the night. And I think it'll progress relatively quickly as well. So by the time we get into the A main, it will be very, very worn in, and we'll see all sorts of moves and attempts to find grip out there. Cooper Wilson currently P1, Daniel Boyd P2, so very, very close in times at the moment.
And we can see that we're expecting around 10-second lap times. Will we see anyone dip into the 9-second bracket in qualifying? Ooh, take it easy there. Number 18, Daniel Nickel. Unfortunately, it seems the concrete on the inside of the circuit is a little bit too grippy for a sprint car.
I said earlier that we see Tim Ryan drop out of that top 10, but he is actually here. So we thought he wasn't going to make the rest of the season, but he only had that 1 week away on holidays. Now he's back, so he hasn't hit the circuit this warm-up session, but no doubt see him out there right at the end of qualifying to post his lap.
Pick a lane, Tim. First he told us he was going to be away 1 week, and it turned out he would be going the next week. Then we thought he wasn't going to be turning up, and now he is back once again.
That's
with a new livery,
Perth,
it seems.
Perth behaviour, that, isn't it? With false info.
Really? When have I done that?
I'm just staring.
I'm nothing but truthful. But just going back to my the point that I was making, Tim Ryan running a new livery here,
yeah, very different.
Yeah, got a bit more of that sort of dark side, evil kind of aesthetic going in the Altus number 98, which is awesome to see. Well, we're in qualifying now, and Leo Heaton is one of the first drivers out on track to get things done. Across the line he comes here, and we'll see his first time, and it is in the 9-second bracket. So instantly we see drivers getting under 10 seconds in qualifying. Blaine Densley and Daniel Nickel will file in below him, as well as Braden Miller. That's 4 drivers setting times now. Darcy Wilson goes fastest. 9.91 is the current time to beat.
Well, with Daniel Boyd, he's not quite there. 4th at the moment. We'll see what he does on his second lap. That will not be into the 10s either, so he's a little bit off. Cooper Wilson, who we saw at the top in the practice, back in 4th as Harry Stewart goes P1.
9.9 seconds for Harry Stewart across a quarter mile, with Thomas Mitchell putting himself into 14th with his opening lap. Sean Stevens going up to 7th, and then Aston Hurley going up to 4th spot. We have our top 4 all within the under 10 second bracket. How will championship leader Riley Bilson do? Man just set a 9.96. That puts himself 4th. Not a bad run there, and that might give him pole position for the 4th heat if he can stay there. Jaden Russell goes to 7th. Nash Granger goes to 12th. We still have a sizable portion of drivers here who have not set times yet.
Yeah, Daniel Gow's about to set his first lap time. The first sector doesn't look amazing, neither does the second, but 10.2 will slot him about into the midfield. There we go, right into 12th. Hayden Vickers goes up into 9th position, so there's still lots of shuffling on the timing sheet. A few drivers left. Nathan Vanderwacker, who's been absolutely outstanding throughout a lot of the racing. I think he had Brady Baldwin goes P1. Had a bit of a shocker in the A main last week, but I think he'll be looking for redemption tonight.
Yeah, he will, as will quite a few drivers here tonight. Nathan Vanderwacker, 10.08, and Josh Barry will go up to 7th as Vanderwacker consolidates himself in P13. Josh Barry comes across the line, and he's just over 10 seconds there. Unfortunately, missing out on improving his time by about 7/100ths of a second. Cameron De Bruin, meanwhile, starts his first lap here. What will the number 13 be able to do as he flies across the top of the banking here? That's a 10.3 there for Cameron, puts him down to P20. One more lap, see if he can do it. No, looks like he won't be able to, as Tim Ryan is now out on track and immediately going to P1. That is a story we have told a million times before here on SimSpeed TV. Tim Ryan just goes out late in the session and then absolutely blitzes it. Yeah, blitzes it. Look at that, 9.77. 7.8 rather.
Same in the end, isn't it? That incredible pace that he's got.
Well, that's 600ths that Tim Ryan gets over Brady Baldwin, and Tim Ryan will get the quick time for round 5. Baldwin is followed by Stewart, Wilson and Heaton, then Bilson, Hurley, Barry, Parrott and Russell rounding out the top 10 times here, only covered by 2/10, which is pretty good to see. As we check out how everyone else did, unfortunately Van der Wacker, despite a strong showing early on, not quite able to get himself into that top 10. And then we see those last few times rolling in as we are now into the first heat of the night. Tim Ryan starts on pole position alongside Darcy Wilson. We got Aston Hurley and Jaden Russell on the second row. And then Sean Stevens and the 79 of Daniel Boyd will take up row 3. Starting 7th will be Blaine Densley. He's got Nash Granger for company. And then we've got Luke Payton and Thomas Mitchell rounding out our 10-car field for these heats. And well, I've gotten so accustomed to seeing heats with 8-car grids that the track feels kind of crowded with this many cars on it.
10 cars with an 8-lap race is going to be absolutely hectic. Of course, advancing. This is going to be really, really heated, and it's going to be very, very entertaining to watch as we get to go. And confirm that the 3 heats of 8 laps, top 4 from each heat will advance into A main straight away. Everyone else will go B or the C main. C main, if we do have one, I'm not 100% sure if we will or we won't, but it will be over 10 laps, top 4 B main, and then we think that everyone bar one car will go from the B main.
Righto, let's see how it works out then as the second formation lap gets underway. And looks like Tim Ryan and Darcy Wilson already giving each other a bump here at pace speed. Let's hope that they're able to keep out of each other's hair when the night officially starts here with the green flag for the first heat of the night. Slightly better jump there from Wilson, but Ryan will lead into turns 1 and 2. And there is Darcy Wilson hitting to the wall. Contact with Aston Hurley, and that's going to involve Luke Payton and Nash Granger as well.
Around at the back of shot there was Thomas Mitchell, so he's around up front for broken a bit of a gap. Blaine Densley, Jaden Russell trying to close in that gap. Daniel Boyd currently sitting in P4.
Yeah, the 4th place transfer spot is the one we need to focus on. Jaden Russell, 10.45. It's also a 10.45 for Daniel Boyd on the last lap, but Boyd gets into the wall here, and that brings Russell right into it. Bit of over-rotation from the number 27. Oh, he manages to straighten up the exit and go for the slider on the way into the corner, but will Boyd be able to come back at him is the big question. Seems like he's just been able to, and now it is a 3-way fight for the transfer spot with Blaine Densley here as well.
And only a couple of laps to go when they come to the line. There'll be 2 to go when they cross it now. Daniel Boyd doing everything in his power to hold on to this spot, but he's going to have to work very, very hard to hold on these last 2 laps because Jaden Russell wants this and wants this bad.
Yeah, it's going to come down to, I think, a desperate lunge on the final lap, which has already begun. Tim Ryan taking the checkered flag here, wins the first heat, but Jaden Russell might just line him up. Oh, he only just misses out on the transfer there. That was a matter of just over a 1/10 of a second separating Daniel Boyd and Jaden Russell. Well, Ryan, Hurley and Stevens are your podium. Boyd will go through into the feature with them. Everyone else is going to have to race at least once more tonight. Coming through into Heat 2 now, it's another 10-car field with Brady Baldwin starting alongside Leo Heaton on the front row. Josh Barry starts in third place alongside Cooper Wilson, two number 14s sharing that row, with Nathan Van Der Wacker and Daniel Gow rounding out the top 6. In 7th and 8th will be Cooper Dunn and John Schultz. Then we've got Cole Ferguson and Braden Morosky rounding out our 10-car field once more. Now, we saw that Heaton was fast early in the quick time session. He was one of the first drivers to put a time down, and Baldwin was looking mighty pacey as well. It's going to be a tough fight for the win between those two, but just going off the grid here, Cooper Wilson, Nathan Van Der Wacker, Daniel Gow, in fact everyone behind them. I think it's going to be a close battle for the transfer spot here.
This is a pretty stacked heat, isn't it, when we look at who's involved? So I'm looking forward to seeing how it does play out, because lots of drivers that have the potential to make it on through. And as you said, Baldwin and Heaton, they're pace, but Barry, Wilson, Van Der Wacker, Gow, Dunn, Schultz, and as well Ferguson and Morosky, they've all got the talent to potentially get themselves into that top 4. So this is going to be a really good heat to watch.
I'm looking forward to this. What a great matchup on the front row. Great matchups on every single row here. And we saw just how quickly the first heat went. It was over in less than 2 minutes or thereabouts. So I think we're in for another short and fast one here. Brings to mind how many laps are going to be in the feature here tonight and how many cautions there might be. No cautions in the heats. It's out and out racing to the end, and it begins now with Brady Baldwin getting a great jump over Leo Heaton straight to the inside. Meanwhile, is the other number 14, Josh Barry. Unfortunately, he loses out to Cooper Wilson, who's gaining the momentum around the outside, and we've already got a car around. That's a big crash there for, I think, Cole Ferguson.
Ferguson's lost a whole heap of ground and now dropped all the way back as Josh Barry makes contact with Daniel Gow. How did he hold on to that? He should have been facing the wrong direction.
Yeah, that was a huge slide there, and well done to both of them for managing to avoid taking that out, but it means that it's on for the transfer spot. There are 5 cars battling for this, and Josh Barry makes the move up the inside. Will Gow be able to come back at him? Well, he's going to have to think about Van Der Wacker, Schultz and Dunn behind, but Schultz and Dunn make contact. John Schultz gets spun around.
Schultz is now all the way back, and he's got Dunn there with him. She's dropped all the way right back now.
Big contact! Yep, that was contact with Daniel Gow, unfortunately, and Van Der Wacker is out of this heat.
Wow, was not expecting that. We were expecting Van Der Wacker to be there right all the way to the end, but now he's upside down and Knight looking painful early on. Baldwin, Wilson, Heaton, and it looks like it'll be Josh Barry that will hold on to this spot. What a amazing race that ended up being. Daniel Gow is black flag for that incident.
Well, there we go. Gow's going to get an end-of-line penalty in the C main, it seems. That's our first black flag of the night. Here's how they lined up at the end. Baldwin by 1.3 seconds ahead of Wilson, then Heaton and Barry through to the feature. Cooper Dunn missing out by a few seconds there, getting into the top 4. Cole Ferguson not too far behind him. Braden Morosky, the last finisher on the lead lap. Gow, of course, with that black flag classified 2 laps down. Van Der Wacker and Schultz ultimately retiring from that. It's time for the third heat of the night, and we are only going to get 3 heats here. Harry Stewart and Riley Bilson on the front row of this one. That is a stacked front row there. Not to mention Travis Parrott and Hayden Vickers on the row behind, the 33 and the 15 together on row 2. Behind them, it's going to be Braden Miller in the number 2, starting alongside the number 7 of Nick Ryan, and you can't miss him with that bright pink paint job. Cameron De Bruin and Luke Wilson, 7th and 8th, and our last car in this field will be Daniel Nickel. It's only a 9-car field. Of course, Liam James from Race Control in the session as a driver. First thing he did when the racing got underway was disqualify himself. Here's another look at that incident from the previous heat.
There's an Gow getting the penalty. Also can confirm that did get a penalty as well. We'll get an OL in the next race for contact with John Schultz in that race.
Yeah, makes sense. No one quite escapes the ire of race control in
Always
this
watching.
series. They are indeed. ODSE has been traditionally a very tightly run ship, which is why we've loved it so much. But now we check out this final heat. There's one less car on the grid, but I think the action is going to be just as phenomenal. Coming up to the start zone now, and Harry Stewart lines it up, puts the power down, and leads across the line to start the race, with Riley Bilson keeping him in very close contact. Bilson working the inside now. It seems that more drivers are trying to use that because there's more fresh clay down there, but the speed is still with Harry Stewart as he almost starts pulling away in the lead.
Almost able to break away. There's a car around in the back. I believe that's Hayden Vickers around.
Yep.
He's lost a whole heap of ground. Daniel Nicol also in trouble as Bilson and Miller almost make contact there coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, Luke Wilson tried a slide job and got into Vickers. That's how he spun. So now looks like it's going to be on for second here. That is a great move there from Riley Bilson. Just shoved it up the inside of Braden Miller and did not look back. You can't really look back because these cars don't have rear view mirrors. It's also on for fourth place, the transfer spot. Nick Ryan trying to hold off Travis Parrott, cuts down below him around the outside, and right in it as well is Luke Wilson. This is a fantastic race, and I'm almost sad that it's going to be over very soon because Harry Stewart is about to come across the line to start the final lap. He has been gaining on Braden Miller all race long, and the white flag is out. Here comes Harry Stewart. He is going to take the win in the final heat of the night, just putting Daniel Nicol a lap down.
And who gets that in the end between Ryan and Wilson? 1700ths of a second. Nick Ryan gets it in the 7.
Wow. That was an incredibly close finish there. Yeah, less than 200ths of a second. In fact, here's how they finished with Stewart, Miller, Bilson, and Ryan there. And you can see just how close it was between Nick Ryan and Luke Wilson. What a fantastic battle it was between those two. Parrott, De Bruin, Vickers, and Nicol, the rest of your field there. Daniel Nicol did get the finish. So I think that's the only one out of our 3 heats that ended up with all cars actually finishing. Well, it's time for the C main. Thomas Mitchell and Daniel Gow on the front row of that, but I think Gow might get an end-of-line penalty. Hayden Vickers, Darcy Wilson on row 2. Then we have Nathan Vanderwacker and Daniel Nicol on the next row behind. Nash Granger and John Schultz make up your final row of 8 cars to take the start here. It's going to be a 10-lap race here, and the top 4 will transfer through to the B main.
Only 4 advancing. It makes it very, very hectic, makes it very, very interesting. Still some penalties to come in. As you said, Daniel Gow will drop to the end of the line. There's his penalties just coming now, and there's still some discussion over that incident right at the early phase of that last heat, as well as to the cause and effect. So we'll see if there's any more penalties that still continue to roll in over this formation lap, but it's going to be a very, very hectic race. I think hectic's my word of the night by the sounds of it.
Well, I think if you put hectic in the motorsports dictionary, there'd be a picture of Limaland Motorsports Park next to it as the green flag flies and Thomas Mitchell gets a good initial getaway. Darcy Wilson has to worry about Hayden Vickers, who's come steaming through on the bottom, and following him is Van der Wacker along with Nash Granger and the number 18 of Daniel Nicol. This is a very close fight. Oh, wow. But currently 4th place occupied by Nicol. There's not much in it, though. Look at that. That's fantastic racing. Almost going 3 wide here on the exit of turn 2.
Between Nicol, Wilson, and Granger all together here. 3 of them fighting over 1 position. Van der Wack is starting to check out from these guys. Daniel Nicol's up a couple of spots from where he started, but Darcy Wilson to get back forward, remembering he started right up near the front.
This is some great driving from Daniel Nickel. He's sticking middle of the road all the way through, and he's managing to use the fresh clay to his advantage. There's that brief moment of 3 wide. The momentum is with Darcy Wilson on the outside, though. He can gain a bit of ground on the straights, and Nash Granger sneaking through on the inside. Unfortunately, Nickel having to fall behind them. The race is already half done. Thomas Mitchell leads by 1.3 seconds. Oh, he is indeed. He is challenging Vickers for second place, and looks like he might have just gotten it. Yeah, Vickers trying to make it work on the inside to get that back, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. It seems like Daniel Gow has retired from the race and from the server as well. We're not going to be seeing any more of him tonight as the race is about to enter its final lap. Nash Granger is the one holding on to the 4th place spot, and he seems to be pressured here by Darcy Wilson. Checkered flag, meanwhile, for Thomas Mitchell, and yeah, I think I just saw what you saw as well, Wilson, with a massive crash on the final lap. Will not get into 4th there. That's a huge shame. So Mitchell, Van der Wacker, Vickers, and Granger will go through to the B main. Darcy Wilson, Daniel Nickel, John Schultz, and Daniel Gow will have to go home. And I think Daniel Gow is already on the highway with now the B main to come. The top 12 from this race will transfer through to the feature. We're only going to lose 1 car from this, with Jaden Russell and Cooper Dunn on the front row, Luke Wilson and Blaine Densley lining up 3rd and 4th. It's Cole Ferguson and Travis Parrott on row number 3. They are followed by Luke Payton and Braden Morosky. Meanwhile, Cameron De Bruin and Thomas Mitchell will round out the top 10. Final 3 cars will be Van der Wacker, Vickers, and Granger. All right, then. It's going to be... it's really going to be a race for the final spot here, as I see a car standing still. That's the number 65 of Cooper Dunn. I wonder if he was given an end-of-line penalty. That's what happened to Darcy Wilson at the end of the C main. Yeah, Cooper Dunn given an end-of-line.
Yeah, that's a carryover from race. And there was contact between he and John Schultz.
Well, think of it this way. With the top 12 of 13 drivers transferring through to the A main, if there's a crash and a single driver retires, everyone else can back off a little bit. The race will just be a formality from that point on. But we'll see what happens. No, certainly won't. And wow, that's a good start from Jaden Russell. Immediately moving to the upper midline with Blaine Densley challenging him on the inside. Is the slider going to happen? No, momentum is with the outside. Slight contact. They bang wheels on the way into the into the 3rd corner. Sorry. My goodness, what a fantastic fight it is for the top 3. These podium positions looking incredible here, with Cole Ferguson on the outside looking in, challenging for 4th. Oh dear, take it easy, guys.
Wilson almost making heavy contact with Blaine Densley, but somehow managed to pull it up and make sure that he didn't make heavy contact enough to turn him. The race control will not hesitate in giving out penalties. Wouldn't want to be the one that misses out with a black flag from this race.
No, you certainly wouldn't. It's looking like very close racing for the final couple of spots. Braden Morosky has suffered an issue there. He is missing his front wing, and he is way off the pace as a result. So I think we might end up losing him from here unless there's a problem for drivers further up. Hayden Vickers falls behind Cooper Dunn meanwhile, and there's slight contact there between the 9 of Luke Wilson and the 2 of Thomas Mitchell. Gently does it. These guys fighting tooth and nail for 4th place. They do have a lot of space to play with. It's about half a second back to Travis Parrott, but there's a huge pack of cars behind him, as we can see. Great use of the outside line from Luke Payton, and trying to chase him down. Nathan Van der Wacker. Will he flick down to the inside here on the way into the next corner? I think so. There he goes. Van der Wacker. Will he get it done? No. The track's just too slick down there now.
thing I was about to say is you're saying about there's about half a second gap between drivers, and maybe shuffle themselves in nose to tail. The issue you've got, you don't want to give up too much time to the guy ahead because these guys will close up very, very quick. In a 10-second lap, you don't want to be giving up any time to anyone around you.
Yeah, the laps come by thick and fast around here, but final lap for Jaden Russell, and he takes victory in the B main. Just misses putting Braden Morosky a lap down. It's Densley and Ferguson there on the podium. There's a little bit of a clash back there. Luke Wilson will finish in 4th. Thomas Mitchell making it up from 10th to 5th. And then Van der Wacker, Parrott, Payton, De Bruin and Dunn rounding out the top 10. Finishing 11th and 12th was Nash Granger and Hayden Vickers. Braden Morosky, with that damage, was not able to keep up with them, and he is the last driver to be eliminated from the night as a result. Well, now comes the time for us to take a little bit of a breather.
No breather tonight. We're going straight into it.
Oh, really? Oh, goodness. We are not going to have a chance to catch our breath here.
Get your breath now. Have a couple of deep breaths and then you're good.
Yep. All right, cool. I'm good. I'll have to...
With the patch coming, we're going to advance it as soon as we can.
Yeah, very true. iRacing patch coming up at 8 p.m. my time, which is about an hour and 10 minutes away, and we want to try and get this feature done as soon as possible. Oh dear, Jay, I think I'm going to have to invest in an oxygen machine at some point because we cannot stop talking throughout these races.
It's incredible how much action there is when there's even 8-car race. It's so good to watch. Love it. How tightly contested they are. And I just said to race control, advance as soon as you're ready, and they advance with it. How good's that? That's service with a smile there.
Yeah, that's very quick. Race control serving us out burgers and fries on roller skates. Well, here's the grid then for the feature here at Limaland, round 5 of the 410 Thunder Series. Tim Ryan and Brady Baldwin will take up your front row. Behind them, it's going to be Harry Stewart and Aston Hurley, with Cooper Wilson and Braden Miller starting in 5th and 6th. On the 4th row of the grid, Sean Stevens shares it with Leo Heaton in the number 26. And then we got championship leader Riley Bilson starting alongside Daniel Boyd to round out the top 10.
We go back to the last of our drivers that made it through heats. That's Josh Barry, and the rest of our field, next 12, all have come through, starting their finishing order from the main. So John Russell and Blaine Densley, by Cole Ferg, Luke Wilson, go to Thomas Mitchell, Ethan Backer, off past 6, Travis Parrott, Luke Payton, Cameron DeBoer, Cooper Dunn, and rounding out our Nash Granger, Hayden Vickers. 30 laps on the board. Caution laps do not count. It's going to be highly entertaining.
Certainly it will. How many caution laps will we see is the question on my mind.
I'd love to say none, but we've said that before and ended up with plenty. So let's say plenty and hopefully psychology.
Yeah, hopefully. Tim Ryan has chosen the outside line for the start. The pole sitter has the right to choose what line they start on in ODSE. And Tim Ryan seems to like going for the outside line. Just gets him a straighter exit potentially. Well, we'll see how it works out for him with very experienced dirt racer and now engineer as well, Brady Baldwin, on the inside line. Of course, many of these drivers active in real life dirt racing. The green flag flies and we are away. Tim Ryan gets a good start over Baldwin, and Brady has to gather it up down low. So Ryan comfortably in the lead for the time being. Harry Stewart making it past Aston Hurley for 3rd, and Hurley gets into the wall. That causes a big pile up behind, and we already have our first yellow of the race.
Oh, that's a rather big one there. Thomas Mitchell, Cole Ferguson, 2 that have ended up upside down from that. We're going to wait just a second, but Densley has been black flag for some. So let's see if we can dissect what happened here.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that as he was passed by Harry Stewart, Aston Hurley's car straightened up a little bit too much. That ultimately killed his momentum and brought Braden Miller and Leo Heaton into it. Heaton gets spun across the track and takes out a few other cars. One of them being the number 81 there. of Cole Ferguson. Well, drivers do have fast repairs in this series, but they can't use it in the second half of the race. It looks like Ferguson has potentially elected not to take it. There's another view. Hurley getting up into the catch fence.
It's Tony Hawk impersonation. It's a crazy incident. Can confirm that race control are looking at it, but I think they're a bit like us, don't know where to go or where to start.
Yeah, there were multiple factors to that incident, and I don't think it was really anyone's fault, as Tim Ryan puts the power down and the green flag flies for the second green flag run. And Ryan gets an excellent start. He's already pulling away from Baldwin, Stewart, Wilson, and Stevens. Sean Stevens getting the run around the outside. Could he get Cooper Wilson here? Tries to cut down, and well, not much Wilson can do other than try and go as far inside as he can to keep this position. Slider tries to park it on the line that Stevens wants to run. Is unsuccessful. Stewart, though, pressuring Baldwin massively for second.
And also in there now too, Luke Wilson, Nathan Vanderwacker. Vanderwacker's up 9 spots, out to be 10 positions in this race. He is flying in this A main.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Up to 9th across the line. And how much further forward will he be able to make it? We've seen this green flag run has worked out pretty well so far, as there's a change for position there between Baldwin and Stewart. Good switchback from Baldwin. It seems that Stewart is having trouble keeping it out of the wall.
Having trouble keeping it out of the wall. There was a little bit of contact at the exit of turn 2 though on the previous lap, so could have contributed to that issue with the wall. And you can see right there, Baldwin does it. Show exactly what we're talking about by getting stuck in the wall. It's trying to use as much road as possible and get as close to the wall as you can. The point where you're almost rubbing up against it. Quite easy to turn that into literally rubbing up against the wall and into it.
Oh, another switch. Baldwin gets to the inside of Stewart. Stewart can't keep it out of the wall once more, and that brings Sean Stevens into contention for the podium. He goes up the inside of Stewart and manages to get onto the outside line, but the momentum is gone, and Stewart files back through. The caution is out. We've had an incident.
Go Heaton.
Shame there for Leo Heaton, already involved in the crash that caused the first caution, and this was something that he did entirely to himself. A lot of drivers trying to use the outside of the banking for maximum speed, but it's so slick up there, it's really hard to keep it out of the wall. And Heaton ends up actually, Tim Ryan got a glancing blow off him. Yeah.
Doesn't have any damage from it. Probably be a little bit nervous about making sure he was okay at the moment.
Yeah, well, the new damage model being on these sprint cars, it can be very easy to damage the suspension, but dirt racing being as much of a contact sport as it is, these cars are built pretty tough. Here's the view on board from Ryan. He was already...
You see, it made contact there with Nick Ryan as well, so there'd already been contact with one lap car, and then he makes contact with Heaton after he's had a little issue there. I can see that Tim Ryan's already expressing his displeasure with other drivers as we go green again. Very, very nice jump at the front.
So is Tim Ryan walking wounded right now? We'll find out. Baldwin still in second, but Stewart goes for the slider here to try and set up a fight here versus the lead.
It is getting in the lead group now.
Yeah. Oh dear. That's a bit of a tap there, and Cooper Wilson and Sean Stevens come together. That allows Luke Wilson to make his way through, but then cutting right back is Stevens, and Josh Barry making it work on the inside as well. Stevens sent to the back of that pack and wasn't quite able to keep the car stable through the corner. Vanderwacker now up to 7th now, and he's making that inside line work really well, isn't he? He's just using all of the fresh clay there on the inside, using a bit of the slick to get the car rotated. That is beautiful to watch.
You got to be very careful though that if you go that tiny little bit too far on the inside, you really hit that tyre. Well there.
Oh, yeah, he's going to have to switch to the outside now and get some of that momentum back to get ahead of the number 14 of Cooper Wilson.
Going.
Oh, it is. Oh no!
Wilson.
Caution is out. Oh, okay. There was another incident that we missed there. Luke Payton and Jaden Russell coming together, apparently, immediately going into the pits, and it looks like they're both out.
Damage to both of their cars, so they are both at the now. Try and dissect with.
Looks to me like Luke Payton got a bit too much oversteer off the exit of the corner and came down into Jaden Russell and Hayden Vickers. We'll see it here.
Back one. Benny, I have. It's good of me, wasn't it?
Well, at least we get a bit of context here.
Don't tell me perhaps too many. I have.
Even more context. So
they've extended the yellow for us under this replay. Here we go.
Here we go. Oh, yeah.
No, I don't know if I think Russell may. Oh yeah, you can see Ben Russell's damage. That's why he sort of darted straight back up the track. There was no malice there. It's the literal wheel hanging off it.
Yeah, and with that, Jaden Russell has officially left the server. He is out of tonight's race. We're rapidly approaching the finish here. Lap 18 of 30 completed. And it should be a nice dash to the end. Tell you what, this battle for second is just spellbinding at the moment. Harry Stewart versus Brady Baldwin. They have been trading spots non-stop since the green flag.
It's been great to watch. It's going on. It's crossed we see it for a few more laps. We are still under caution. Green. But still extended the caution again. They're just trying to go through that crash and make sure that there's no extra penalties that need to be handed out before we go greening.
All these extra laps being run, or under caution rather, there'll be drivers who have underfueled their cars a little bit in the hopes of getting a bit of extra pace, and they'll be liking this. A little bit of extended time with the engine running at near idle.
The lights are now out on the pace car, so we go green this time. Well, Tim Ryan is very, very happy to see that the lights are going out and they're getting ready to go. Only 17 cars left on track now. It's a little bit of a war of attrition.
Yeah, that it has. We have 17 cars remaining in the race as the green flag flies and Tim Ryan gets a good getaway, but Stewart immediately to the inside. There's a bit of space for Ryan to work his way through on the outside, but that was close.
Very close. I think they may have just rubbed wheels, but...
Here comes Stewart. Ryan does the switchback.
Very, very nice from Tim Ryan, and he's going to... just a little bit of contact there. Elbows are well and truly out with Tim Ryan there, and he's just fed Harry Stewart. He's just sent the mother of all dives there to try and steal that spot back, but cannot do it, and now he's got to be careful because Josh Barry has got himself forward now into third position. Brady Baldwin's battling now Luke Wilson and Nathan Vanderwacker.
Yeah, Baldwin not faring too well now on this very worn track, only a few laps from the end, and Josh Barry now is hunting down Harry Stewart for second place. You see that number 14 diving to the inside, Baldwin trying his best to keep Wilson behind. But who is going to finish second here? Looks like Stewart's managed to get a bit of space, and now it is a fight for third.
All-way battle for third as well, with Barry, Baldwin, Wilson and Vanderwacker. Daniel Boyd's not far off this too. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between two of these guys, and that'll bring all five of the cars together. So don't be surprised if we see Daniel Boyd fighting for this podium before the end. Only 5 laps to go though. Not much racing left in this one.
And Josh Barry is just holding off Luke Wilson here for third spot. Oh, just enough space on the outside.
No,
There's
Brady
another
around.
Crash. Brady around, and that might there. Yeah, that's a caution. Only 4 laps from the end. Baldwin manages to get it out of the wall and rolling again, but he's missing his front wing.
Be an interesting end to this one now.
Harry Stewart tapping Morse code on the rear bumper bar of Tim Ryan, saying, okay, mate, it's on now. Only 4 laps left in this one when we go green, and I want to take that win from you. Here's what happened to Brady.
Onto the inside, there's been a little bit of contact there with the other two, and then place wrong time. It's going to be interesting to see how race control dissect that. We'll try and get another view go green. I can tell that they're dissecting it quite a lot because they've extended the yellow straight away.
Yeah, they have. Well, Luke Wilson was the driver involved in that, and Baldwin minding his own business there on the inside, but there was that pass, and looks like Wilson, he just had to check up and that loosened the rear, it looks like.
It's the perfect example of showing someone what wrong place, wrong time is. So, the race control are looking at that now, and we'll dissect it over the next couple of moments and back green very soon. It's made things difficult for Baldwin with 3 laps to go. When we restart, he's going to have a real tough ask to move positions forward, which a word has come in from race control. Racing into...
Yeah, I think that's a sensible decision. No particular driver was at fault there. It was just a consequence of another incident. Well, now they line up single file one more time here. And can Harry Stewart finally put the move on Tim Ryan to take his first feature win of the season? It's been a tough season for Harry Stewart. He suffered plenty of issues, and despite his magnificent pace, has not quite been able to get there. But will he this time? He is right with Tim Ryan on the restart and immediately goes for the inside. Ryan gets into the wall, and that could get some drama. Ryan moves down to 3rd as he tries to pass Josh Barry. Barry can't fight him, and Luke Wilson moves into 3rd. Harry Stewart has the lead that he's wanted all feature. And it's only 1 lap to go for our leader. It's still on for 3rd. Wilson trying to fend off 4 cars. Nathan Vanderwacker briefly holding on to 3rd spot. The white flag is out. And out of the final corner will come Harry Stewart to finally take a feature win in the 410 Thunder Series. And Luke Wilson just manages to nab 3rd spot there.
Harry Stewart picking up the win with that great restart, and Tim Ryan with the smallest of errors. That's something you'd never, ever, ever say. Ryan's made an error, but he definitely did.
Well, that was a great celebration there from Harry Stewart, wasn't it?
Well, there.
Going to do the reverse lap around the track now, but these cars don't turn right very well.
Watch out for the sun as he came up into turn 4, but done a very, very good job there. What a night of racing that was. That was an incredible, entertaining night. I must say, how surprising was it? I know surprising isn't the right word. How interesting is it that Nathan Vanderwacker, to start that last lap, was actually in 3rd. He missed out on 3rd in the end, but Vanderwacker got himself all the way up to 3rd.
Yeah, it was a proper fight for the podium, wasn't it? They're only separated by a couple tenths of a second. Daniel Boyd finishing in 6th spot. And, well, Cooper Dunn and Cameron De Bruin, as well as Nash Granger, all making it into the top 10 after starting outside the top 20. Sean Stevens will hold on to a position in the top 10, starting 7th.
Finishes in the end with Vickers, Parrott, and Baldwin. Blaine Densley and Riley Bilson both had an issue on the final lap of the race. It did cross the line in the end. Aston Hurley finished 1 lap down, had an issue as well. Just on that last lap, but couldn't finish the race in the end. Then Cooper Wilson, Luke Payton, Hayden Russell, Nick Ryan, Thomas Mitchell, Theo Heaton, Paul Felton, Hayden Miller, running out 24 in the A main. Reese, I think you're going to have a chat to our podium, starting with potentially our race winner.
Yes, indeed. If I can get my mouse to work, I might have to get you to drag him in for me. No, my mouse decides to work. Tim Ryan joining us in the commentary box here. No, my apologies. I'm so used to Tim Ryan winning that I ended up dragging the wrong driver up. Here's Harry Stewart. Big congratulations, Harry. Your first feature win of the 410 Thunder Series. That must feel good. It all came down to that final dash.
Yeah, I've been pretty garbage this whole series, driving like a bit of a lemon, just holding the thing flat out like it's a 360. So yeah, it was nice to get a win, and just, I don't know, it was a pretty weird race. I feel like I couldn't get past Brady for most of it, and then I got past him. I think he stuck it in the fence, and that was sort of how I got past. I think it was the only way to really pass because how good the cut down was, and when you throw a slider. And yellow came out. I think I slid Tim. I didn't quite clear him, so he got around me, and then I got a huge run off of 4, and we sort of got racing for a bit, and then copped a right rear going into the corner, which didn't make me too happy. And I knew on the restart it wasn't going to be. It's going to be pretty tight, and slid him, and Tim just hit the fence. And it just goes to show you don't need to spend 300 hours a week on running the same track. You just rock up 15 minutes before, load in a 360 set, and go for it. So just can't thank everyone at Slick Sim Sports and United Sim Sports enough for everything they do. Time Garages and Carports, 87 Creative, Tool Mobile Welding, everyone who did the race tonight with me. Darcy, he had a bit of a drama in that first heat, got taken out, and that was that. And Brady for putting a league on, Liam, and everyone for admitting, and just cheers.
Yeah, cheers to you too, Harry Stewart. First feature win of the series. Congratulations. Now we can bring Tim Ryan in. Well, Tim, that was looking like a lights to flag victory for you, but Harry just got you at the final hurdle. Regardless, still another strong night for you. You maintain your position in the top 10 in the championship.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad night. Restart's a little bit difficult here with just how vulnerable you are in the restart rules here. When you're not allowed to chain down the track and stuff, it makes it a little bit hard just with how slick it is. But seconds in this quality field's nothing to be too disappointed with, and obviously it's pretty good for the championship as well. We've been pretty consistent round on round, and don't know where next week is. I think it might be Lanier. Hopefully I get back from over east to run that race.
Yeah, we certainly hope so too, Tim. Let's talk about Lanier for just a few short moments. It's obviously one of the ovals that was converted to dirt from asphalt on the iRacing sim, so its characteristics are a little bit different to some of the dirt tracks we race on.
Yeah, it sure is. It's actually quite an enjoyable track. I think you'll find the racing there to be quite solid. The inside has what we call a shelf. It's really flat, pretty much no banking at all, but it holds a lot of water content in there. So you'll find the very inside of the racetrack to be quite good for a short period of time. And in the feature, the most common lines you'll be seeing are pretty much left front, probably a car length to 2 car lengths off the wall, and running the top. And I honestly think they'll be fairly close, and it should put on a pretty good race.
Yeah, well, we certainly hope that that's going to be the case. Thank you for that insight, Tim Ryan. Anyone that you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, the boys for putting on the series. It's awesome, you guys, as always. Sorry for Harry as well in the contact. On one of the laps there, we both kind of come off the wall down the back straight. It looked like I doored him, but it's just the iRacing netcode that was not malicious or anything like that. The team, ODSE Esports, our partners, Logitech G, VRS, and Speed Factory again. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much, Tim Ryan. Second place on the road here at Limaland. And third place in a titanic battle from 16th place, Luke Wilson joins us now. How was that for you, Luke? Obviously quite a hectic night for everybody.
Yeah, pretty hectic night. That seemed tight little boring. Put on some pretty good racing, I think. Was able to pass cars, and the track was pretty racy.
Yeah, certainly looked like it. How was the evolution of the track going? Because we saw that massive difference between running the bottom versus running the top, but it seemed like as the race went on, drivers were running more middle of the road.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting because I'm normally a bit of a bottom feeder, so I ran down there to start with and avoiding a couple of incidents, but then it was definitely slowing up and the top looked faster, so I just sort of went to the middle and sort of found it before a couple other cars and was able to catch a couple of people. So
yeah, and how was that fight between you, Barry, Van Der Wacker, Boyd, all of you guys finishing within a few car lengths of each other? It looked great from our perspective. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was pretty hectic because I apologise to Brady. We sort of came together on that just before that last yellow and caused that incident, and then so car was a little bit bent, so I was sort of just trying to run the bottom out of the way, and the car sort of hooked up and took off at the same time. So then I was really just trying to hold on.
Well, hold on, you did for third place. Is there anyone you'd like to thank for your podium?
Yeah, all the boys that beat the dark. Hobbsy does everything for us. So Hobbs Trenching and Boring, North Central Solutions, 81 Racewear, yeah, everyone that helps out, and of course all the ODS boys. It's a great series. It's Australia's best, so it's good to finish on the podium.
Indeed, enjoy that podium. Celebrate here tonight, Luke Wilson. Thanks for joining us, and that will bring to an end proceedings for tonight. Jay, we go to Lanier for the next round. This is one of my favourite tracks to watch dirt racing on. We can see that next Wednesday night.
Yep, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Cannot wait for that next week. It's going to be a very, very cool night of racing to finish off another great season in the 410s, and I'm almost disappointed that we're already at the end of the season, but it's going to be an absolutely entertaining way to finish a championship off.
It absolutely is. We hope that you can join us there at 8:15 Australian Eastern on the 26th of April. Thanks very much to our series sponsors. Of course, we've got Hobbs Trenching and Boring on board, as well as FastPrint Signs and Apparel, DM Simtography, Wash It Mobile Truck Washing too, and supporting Neuro Power. Thanks very much everybody for watching. You'll be able to follow us on our socials to get updates on when we are live next. I'm Reese Gardner, Jay Kennedy alongside me, and handling production from all of us here at SimSpeed TV. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.